Now I'm not going to beat around the bush. I am just going to explain the genuine reason why 858 cannot ever have double-decker buses, as well as why it's not a good idea to send all the bus services into Terminal 5, Changi Airport Terminal 5. So number one, the most obvious reason is Terminal 2. At the departure hall, there is actually a part whereby above it, it's actually the link bridge between Terminal 2 and Jewel. And they tried to send a double-decker. I think it was like a Volvo B90L, right? Like below said link bridge. But that bus ended up with scratches. Even though the height clearance is about like 4.4 meters, the bus still scraped. And therefore it's dangerous to send any double-decker bus into Changi Airport. The departure hall site for T2 in case any freak accident happens. So number one, common misconception. The departure hall is not double-decker bus friendly. No, it isn't. Misconception number two. Based on SMRT's intel, this terminal, Terminal 4, is actually bendy bus friendly. At most, you just have to like widen the turn. Because 110 and 858, they use PIE and not ECP, and they cannot go through the 36 way when exiting T4. So with that in mind, the best way to actually split the services is that departure hall, I'm just gonna put it like this, and PTB, which is underground, you should send 24, that means no change, 24, 27, 858, you let them remain underground, whereas the other four services, you push them to the departure hall of terminals 3, 1, and 2. So essentially, those bus services that in the future when Cross Island Line and as well as Cross Island Line extension happens, they wouldn't need high capacity buses anymore because 53 it will still exist. It's just not gonna have any high capacity bus. So all the single deckers, you just make them call at the departure hall because they're single deckers, they're only 12 meters, they don't block the way or anything. And you let all the bendy buses remain inside PTB 3-2, which means underground. What this is supposed to do is to make sure that both the buses at the departure hall site, like in the past when they used to run like all those temporary shuttles and Express 12 as well to Bugis, they actually parked at the departure hall. Okay, I'm not too sure of the arrangements, but it's like the reason why we're doing this is because you want to have an even split, like 4-3, between these two places so that they have enough space to terminate. And all the bendy buses, we're gonna push them below. All the single decker buses, we're gonna push them above. Now, this is a plan to make sure that you don't clog up. Okay, in this context, it would be the bottom. So you don't run single deckers and end up clogging the basement area. So for this group of services, every 2 single deckers, we will replace with 1 bendy bus. And in the process, you save manpower, as in you needed 2 BCs before, and then you only need 1 now when you use a bendy bus. Because realistically speaking, unless Jewel has like some event or anything, it's not like the front bus bunching with the back bus would be fully loaded or anything. If it bunches, the chances are like one of them's gonna be not very full. And therefore you could just replace these 2 buses with a single bendy bus. And you could actually control the frequencies. Now, I'm not saying like, hey, you should degrade them to like 20-minute or 25-minute. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you convert two single deckers to one bendy bus, yes, the frequency as a result gets poorer. That's even what happens in Japan as well. But you save manpower and you space out the buses so that you actually have space to fit 1, 2, and 3 services inside the basement. You could park bendy buses inside Ang Mo Kio. The future Hougang, I don't know if they are gonna park bendy buses or not, but even if they don't, even if the new Hougang Central ITH is not gonna have any bendy buses, you can just run SDs. You don't really have to push this one up there anyway. So regardless, 27 is going to stay below. And 858 obviously Woodlands. The reason why I made the higher demand services stay below is because departure hall, I don't want them to like clog up the area too long. So all those that have single deckers, which means not that much demand in the first place as compared to the other three, I mean that's the reason why I split it this way. Those with higher demand, I mean with the exception of this one is just a strategy to save buses and save space as well in some sense. Space in the sense that like instead of having that many single decker buses, you can convert all of them to benny buses. That's what I mean by saving space. It's like 24 meters versus 18 meters. If you do it well, it can work. So all in all, that is the reason for the splitting. Single deckers on top, bendy buses all below. I have also heard some delusional people saying that they should make all the buses skip terminals 3, 1, 2, and 4. Gonna explain why that's not possible. Number one, the reason why all the higher demand services have to stay at the bottom, like stay put where they are, is because of the airport workers. You cannot make them just go all the way to the departure hall just to, I mean, it's like you kind of have to sacrifice like the rest, but those services that are actually frequented by airport workers, you have to make them stay at the basement because that is where most of the workers are working at, the basement. And not just that, they have already been used to this arrangement for many, many years. So the services that have the highest number of like, again, you can swap out some of them if you will. Like like in case you disagree with like let's say having 24 at the bottom, yes, you might just swap them out for another service. But conceptually, yeah, you get what I mean. So these airport workers, yes, I mean this one's the one that like has the biggest number of like the biggest number of passengers who are airport workers, commuters. So yeah, there's a reason why this and this has to stay below. And not just that. Now I'm gonna explain why you cannot skip. Even if you somehow have a consolidated bus terminal at like let's say Jewel, people still have to walk to Terminal 3. They still have to walk to Terminal 1, they still have to walk to Terminal 2. And the thing that brings convenience, the reason why it's so much, the reason why people even take bus to Changi Airport in the first place is because of convenience. They go through like this, like this, like this, and then out. And then some services, obviously, they go Terminal 4 and then they go out as well. Especially for this one and for this one, these two services, if you try to skip any of these terminals, you would get a lot of complaints. It makes zero sense for you to create on all the buses to skip terminals 3 to 4 and then just send them to terminal 5. You are not only sandbagging PTB 1 to 3, 1, 2, and 4. People along Airport Boulevard, which is also frequented by airport workers, mind you. And not just that, if they're coming from T4, some of them actually board like this, and this outside. And T4 doesn't have any immediate access to MRT. So with all this access penalty in mind, and also the fact that you cannot just claim, oh, MRT is meant to cater to longer distances, and then
Buses are only meant to cater towards short distance journeys. Meh, 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 meh.
That bullshit aside, that is the reason why you do not make buses, existing buses, skip Terminals 3, 1, and 2, Terminal 4, as well as Airport Boulevard. You don't make them skip Airport Boulevard. There is demand from Airport Boulevard. And I have seen a 27 go from fully seated to full to door because a lot of people are boarding from Terminal 4. I mean, outside, not the bus stop that's actually inside Terminal 4, but they walk outside and then they actually board 27 from there. Because I want to remind you that this to this is access penalty. This to this is access penalty. This to this is also access penalty. And Airport Boulevard, if there are no buses there, why is it like that? If Airport Boulevard has no buses there, it'll be a disaster. So I hope you understand why, because of the access penalty, like this, or like the access penalty that comes with this. Basically what I've explained before. Access penalty along this road as well. If you don't have buses there, they have to like, I don't know, walk to here. That's the reason why you don't make buses skip T3, T1, T2. And that's the reason why you make them call all the terminals. Even in Japan, all of the terminals have a bus. They don't make one centralized bus terminal anyways. So Singapore is no different. If you make all buses skip these, you're deluded. You can create on new bus services to pass by, I mean to terminate at T5 exclusively, like in the case of 118. I'm just giving an example because my friend brought this up and I felt like this one has potential. So if you somehow want to extend 118 to terminate at T5 instead of Changi Business Park, and then Changi Business Park you would extend another service to fill in 118 or something along those lines, yes, you can do that. Again, this is not what's gonna happen in the future. This is just an example of like what you can do. If you want an existing bus service to serve T5, I'm just gonna draw it like this. Okay, this is PIE. Let's assume this PIE. Oops. Okay, a bit too extreme. You need to make them have either a terminate plate for the Changi Airport T5 bound. You either need like basically you know the red and white plate, or you need to make them set the EDS to like something like 856 style, except that it'll be T. Because you know 856 at Woodlands North, they kind of have that arrangement whereby you have to look at the EDS carefully. So for that bus service, they actually are a lot more thorough with their EDS check. Like the bus captains driving 856, they have to set the EDS to the correct destination. It's like for other services, you could just close one eye, but 856 has to be the correct direction. So yes, you can make them check the EDS. You could put a T in the EDS, or you can make a desto showing T, like in the style of like red and white plate. But yeah, but it's basically supposed to work like this. This one, the one that has T, either this or this. This would be the T. And in the opposite direction, you cannot skip T3, T1, T2, T4 for either direction. You have to do this. Conceptually, this is how it's supposed to work. I know it's not drawn to scale, but you get the idea. The only service that is fit for doing this, I've discussed with my friend, is 110. You try not to touch like this, or this. Because these two have to go T3, sorry, okay, maybe T3, T1, T2, Airport Boulevard. Okay, whatever. 312 Airport Boulevard, and then they have to like loop back already. They are designed to take the fastest route out of Changi Airport. So you only have, I don't want to touch 24 either because like I already have that suggestion to let 24 remain at the basement, which is where most of the airport workers are at, they would be unhappy if you make them throw Terminal 5 only in one direction. Because it's like, you get the point. It's like, whatever bus that passes by T3, T1, T2 nowadays, uh, how do I put it? You can take them. The only thing that you cannot take is 36T, like out of Terminal 2. But it's a case of like whatever bus you see, you can board. So I don't really want to like meddle with that. I don't really want to put T and no T and then they all get confused. And like they have to like readjust everything. So now obviously that leaves us with this one, and this one. I don't want to touch 53 because it already skips T4. 36 already has a T, and therefore I don't want to complicate things and like make this thing go T5. Also because T5 already has like Thomson East Coast Line, whereas terminals, especially Terminal 1, whereby there is an access penalty, because it's like only 3 and 2 you can access the MRT directly. T1 you cannot. And since 36 has to stay at T1, I don't want to like complicate things and make it send to T5 when there's already TL in the first place. That kind of defeats the purpose of having 36 in the first place. It's for T1 to go to the city quickly, because it's faster anyway. It goes through Marine Parade, Suntec, and then Orchard. It's just really fast. So I'm not gonna touch this one. 34, because T5 already has Cross Island Line, and then I mean slash extension, you transfer at Pasir Ris. I don't want this to duplicate the MRT, so I'm going to make this one, and I'm going to make this one just stay where they are. Although this is a relatively new service, you could play around with it, and the fact that every other service there is like one or two reasons why it's not advisable to extend to T5, but this one, as discussed with my friend, I actually approve of this one being sent to Changi Airport, Terminal 5. And obviously doing this arrangement, because 110 is like, it's important, but it's like kind of expendable, if you would, if that's the correct word for it. It's like you could play around with it and make it so that, okay, maybe T5 bound you make it 110T, and then uh, Bangkok bound you make it just 110, so as to not make people confused like which bus to board. And since this one is expendable, like as I've mentioned before, yeah, when you have 110 doing something, do not make 858 do the same thing. 858 has to stay at 312 terminals. So with that being said, recap. These bus services will get a place to terminate because you space out the buses, you don't cram everything inside PTB, you actually have space for these buses to actually terminate. You can give the bus captains finally a break. You can actually terminate the service there. And what happens when you terminate the service there? You could actually do the EastLink card. It's like all the passengers on the back bus, you just funnel them to the bus in front. I have seen that happening before on like service 36, like in real life. So yeah, you could do that. And not just that, at the departure hall, you could also make them either lay over at, again selectively, some of them they can lay over at T2, some of them they can lay over at T4. And since we don't put the bendy buses at the departure hall, it's not really gonna block the way or anything. So yeah, you could make it so that I don't know, like okay, maybe something like this. So you could make, let's say, 36 and 53, you make them lay over at terminate at T2, and then yeah, basically, yeah, you get what I mean. And then 34, you could actually make it terminate at T4. It is actually a viable solution. And then this one, well, 110 will be a pass-through. But yes, you make it terminate at T5. And then for T5, you can add any existing services. Like, this one can have the double deckers, but everything else here is not supposed to have double deckers. And I'm going to explain one last time why 858 should not have double deckers, even if it's double decker bus friendly. I am going to explain very simply in a big macro view as to why 858 should not. Okay, number 1, Woodlands to Woodlands Avenue 4. It's short distance. To Avenue 9, it's also short distance. And then Gambas Industrial Estate, Gambas Avenue, as well as Woodlands Avenue 7, this area that is like near Sembawang Way, there's an industrial estate. And these people, they take it to Sembawang. So it's like there is short haul demand between here, and then from here, and then from here. That's the reason why you don't use double-decker buses. From Sembawang, there is a shopping center, which is another place whereby there's like a lot of like boarding, alighting, boarding, alighting, boarding, alighting. And the same goes for Chongpang. Then from Chongpang, Sembawang Road, Yishun Avenue 5. Look, Yishun Avenue 5, I have seen a lot of elderly just straight up board 858 from this area. That's the reason why you don't use double deckers. I mean, you want to throw double deckers on like the down routes because you have some to throw around in the mornings. I don't really care. You can continue that, but I'm just saying that like the main fleet of 858 should not be consisting of double decker buses. Because it's like there is like a whole lot of people boarding, alighting at Yishun and Khatib as well. And not to mention, you have this thing called Khoo Teck Puat Hospital, Yishun Central 2, that just doesn't warrant any double-decker bus deployment. And that's the reason why 883 technically should have been run with bendy buses in the first place, but RW is stupid, so yeah, that's one reason. And not just that. From Khatib, there is Jalan Kayu, which is another board alight spot. And then you have Pongo TPE bus stop, which is another board alight bus stop. Because Jalan Kayu only has 858. 110 just turns out already. It doesn't even go Jalan Kayu. And yeah, from Pongo TPE bus stop, where a lot of people board 858, Airport Boulevard, I'm just gonna say AB, 3, 1, 2. I'm just gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the other direction. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is like Sembawang Road. Okay, this is the same. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. If I were to like take every single thing into account, there are at least 19 bus stops in one direction. I mean like, did I double count? Okay, this is the duplicate sector, so yeah, it's all unique. Okay, maybe 18. You have like 18 to 19 places in one direction for 858 that has like this board alight passenger. It's like a demand pattern basically. Do you even think double deckers will survive like this, especially when a lot of people take 858 for short distances and not everybody is just going to the airport? This is why you don't just make 858 skip terminals 3, 1, and 2. Simply because there's demand here, there's demand here, there's demand here, there's demand here, and people from T4, there's demand here as well. You don't make 858 skip just for the sake of,
I want to put double-decker buses on 858.
let me tell you, you skip these areas, which CRLE doesn't even serve, you're gonna kill off the demand of 858. And you wouldn't even have to run double deckers by then because it's like you already killed off like the demand from here, you know. So in this video, I explained why, technically, if you want to make any existing bus service call go to T5, it can only be 110, and the fact that 110 still has to serve terminals 3, 1, 2, 4, and Airport Boulevard. I mean, you get what I mean. So I've explained that, and I've explained the reason why 858. Seriously, that route is not suitable for double deckers. If you say 858 is suitable for double deckers, you should stop talking about bus planning in general because you know nothing. T3, T1, T2, T4 Airport Boulevard. The passenger, the demand patterns, it's gonna be completely different as to like Terminal 5. So these are like effectively separate. And also the effect of like MRT, not saying services are gonna be cut, withdrawn, or rationalized, just maybe a fleet downsize. The effect of MRT, having MRT at T5 means that like you don't really even have to like send a whole lot of services. You can create on new services. You can even create on the city bus, Hong Kong style airport express using double deckers to T5 exclusive, but never ever 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 touch the existing services except 110, especially if you are trying to make them skip terminals 3, 1, 2, and 4. No, T5 is just additional, and 110 can do that because it's expendable. So yes, why is airport double-decker bus restricted for the departure hall? It's because of Terminal 2. And do not make buses skip Terminal 2. It's just as stupid as making them skip the entire Terminals 3, 1, 2, 4. I repeat, 3, 1, 2, and some buses go to 4. 3, 1, 2, you cannot skip any of these terminals. Otherwise, you lose demand. Why? Access penalty. Access penalty. Learn it.